First one for the morning. Just a little flathead, nothing special. Beautiful little flathead. Bring back. All right. Quiet start to the morning, but now that the tide has turned and it's starting to come back in, it's starting to really turn on. So fingers crossed. Next cast I got smacked. Yeah. Oh. What I'm doing, and I'm just fishing a little sand flat, the edge of a sand flat. We're at the very bottom of the tide here. Low tide was about 5 o'clock this morning, and so the tide is just starting to run back in and get really busy. So I'm just hitting these edges as the water's raising up over the sand flats. The flathead are just sitting there waiting for that water to go back up over the flats so that they can start chasing all of them in the shallows there. Right now, they're all just sitting right on that edge. Literally, I'm casting into what would be ankle deep water and then working it down the back end of that channel. Oh my God. That was literally ankle deep water. There was a mullet jump that casted right behind where he just had jumped, and bang. That's probably a legal one. But he was like literally ankle deep water. Not even joking. But that's so cool. So see you later. I would love to say I would keep those, but being in the Warrenora River, probably not best advised to eat too many of them. And I've got plenty in the freezer anyway, so I'll release my fish. Alright, so, oh Jesus, I'll talk you through the gear and everything that I'm using. Oh, I'm getting a hit right there. Hang on. Alright, so I'll run through what I'm using today and sort of explain to you the setup. Explain to you what I'm using, the setup, all that sort of stuff, the weather conditions. So today we've got a 5 a.m. low tide and then about 11 o'clock high tide. So I'm only going to fish till about 9:30, so I've only got about 2.5, 3 hours to fish in between feeds with the little baby, so it's all I can do. That's okay, that's what we do. So we got to run in tide. The plan is, obviously with the bare low right now, all the fish will be congregating on the edges of sand flats, wherever it is where the water would be at high tide. So right now there's a big sand flat right in front of me that at high tide, all the fish would be up there scurrying around, trying to get all sorts of bait off that flat. And right now, as the tide's running in, they're literally waiting for that door to open. It's kind of like that 9 a.m. rush, and we got a fish, right as I was talking. That's not a bad little flathead. That's a good one. See you later, Floody. Anyway, like I was saying, we've got a low tide. All the fish are waiting on the edge, literally probably in knee-deep water, most of the flathead. Only little ones, but oh my God. Oh my God, another one. I can't. You'd think there'd be a diver there putting the fish on the hook for me, but there really isn't. I promise you there isn't. Another flathead. Spat out some bait. Where is it? Can't see it. Let's see what we can do now. So, back to what I was saying. The water will be rushing up across the sand flat in about an hour and a half time, right? Halfway up that tide, the water should be high enough for them to be able to get up there. For now, they're literally sitting on that edge, rushing around in the water that they can swim in, chasing anything that they can have. And I've got a little Z-Man prawn soft plastic on. I like to fish like critter style soft plastics on sand flats. So I won't generally go like a grub or a bait fish or anything like that, because that's not what the bait is around that area. The majority of the bait around that area is always going to be like prawns, nippers, worms, all those sorts of stuff. So if you can even think about the bait that would be in those areas and then go with it from there. So I find that that works really well as well. I'm using my favourite Daiwa Legalis 1 to 2 kilo rod, 7 foot. 6 pound braid. I've got 10 pound leader because we are chasing flathead. We don't want to get nipped off, and the water's a bit dirty here in the Warrenora River naturally, so you can go that little bit heavier and not worry about the fish seeing your lure or your leader, sorry. Weather conditions, we've got a nice light northerly breeze coming. It's meant to be about 10 to 15 k's right now, but being in the Warrenora, we're quite protected, so we don't really get a lot of that breeze. And that's why I sort of chose to go here today, just in case that northerly was 25, 30. In here, I know I can just fish comfortably and just focus on fishing rather than trying to stay out of the weather or anything like that. So that's also another reason why I like to fish this system as well. What else? We are at the back end of the new moon. New moon was 3 days ago. So we're fishing the back end of the moon, which generally isn't the greatest. Lead up to moons are always a lot better than the actual back ends of moons, but to be honest, I just fish whenever I can. I'm not really worried about it, and I'm not going to not go fishing because it's the back end of the moon and you won't catch as many fish. As you can see, they're still biting. You just got to pick your spots and go with it. So yeah, that's what we're doing, and that's the plan for today. And let's see how we go. So far we've already caught a couple.
Floating, weightless, under seas, diving, conscious, like a dream. You and me.
Oh God. I think I've got a good flathead on. Oh yeah. It's a good one. Yes. All right. Have a look at that. That's such a good flathead, man. 46 centimeters it went. Yeah, swallowed the hook. I've just got my live bait tank on just to make sure that this fish is happy and healthy before I release it, because I don't want to release it then to die, because it was hooked quite deep. I got it out, but there was a little bit of bleeding, but he's not bleeding now, so I'm going to quickly put him back in just a second. I'm going to put him back in the live bait tank for another minute or two, make sure he's all good, and then put him back, okay? All right, let's put him back. Yeah. There's just so many of them. Literally the next cast after I caught that 48. Another little one. See you, mate. The tide's really starting to rush now. It's probably turned definitely, and it's starting to be a bit more, pushing a bit harder. And obviously, whenever you're fishing with plastics and you've got an electric motor, my biggest advice is to put your head into the current. So the current's going towards the back of my boat right now, and there's another fish. They're just smacking it. There's so many of them. Anyway, like I was saying, so always check your leader. Just a little bit chafed, just enough for me to be concerned. You should always check your leader knot, just in case. I tie loop knots to my lures. All of my lures are tied via loop knot. Just gives it that little bit extra action, and it is quite a sturdy knot that can withstand a lot of pressure. So I'm never worried about it busting under pressure, touch wood. And yeah, just so many more advantages with it compared to a uni knot, where a uni knot's very straight on there. The loop knot is just so much better. So yeah, so what I was saying was, we've got a run-in tide. The tide's pushing from front of the camera to everywhere behind us. What you want to do when you're soft plastic fishing is to always point your head into the current. Unless the wind is stronger than the current, you always want to be trying your best to put your head into the current, because the fish will be sitting facing like this because the current's going this way. They'll be facing like that. So you want to be able to cast over their heads and work it down past them. And so that's why a lot of people who start lure fishing, particularly soft plastic fishing, a lot of their mistakes are done via that. They don't put their lure, or they don't work their lure in the right direction. I guarantee if I drifted all the way back across this, I wouldn't have caught as many as I have pushing into it. Now, when the wind is a bit sort of stronger than the tide, well then you just have to go with either pushing your head into the wind or going with the wind and casting longer. I prefer to go with the wind if the wind's too strong. I prefer just to go with the wind, have the electric in there, and just make small adjustments with my electric just to put myself in the right spot to be able to cast really far and put myself in that strike zone where I really like to target those fish. So yeah, if you don't have an electric, a lot of people don't, not a lot of people are lucky enough to have electric motors. What you can do is just set yourself up for a drift, make sure your drift line is right along where you want to fish, and you cast with the drift. So if I was not on my electric right now, I'd be drifting towards the back of my boat. So I would be casting in that direction, casting in the direction that I'm actually going, not in the other direction, okay? So you always want to cast in the direction of your drift, so then your line will come towards you. You don't want your line going away from you. That means the lure won't hit the floor properly, and you won't be able to work your soft plastic effectively. So yeah, you always got to make sure the line is coming towards you whenever you're soft plastic fishing. small ones, but that's okay. There's just big ones around. You just got to work through them. Work through the little ones to get the big ones. Probably the smallest one today. Smallest one today. But still, it's a fish. And who's complaining? See you later. That's a good one. About a 47, another good one. Smack that prawn soft plastic in less than a metre of water. So you can, there's proof in the pudding on how shallow they really go. That was probably 60 centimetres of water I got that one in. Wasn't really concentrating, just about to bring it back in, and then just goes bang. So yeah, so cool. I'm gonna put this guy back. There, bud. So happy with that. Fish. Another little flatty. Oh, off he goes. Good fish. Jewfish. Same spot. Come here, you little soapy. Look at that, beautiful little soapy. You would have seen that in the last episode or a couple episodes ago where I fished the Warrenora as well and caught a little Jew on the first casting. This is the exact same spot. I've just moved back to this, a different spot. There's a big sand flat in front of me. The tide's running straight across it and there's a big drop off there. So it's about 0.5 of a metre and I'm in 7 metres. So it's a massive drop off in front of me. Let's put him back, eh? Alright, well that's going to do it for today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed it and I hope you all learned something in regards to fishing plastics. In any situation, you could apply this to any sort of system, any sort of situation that you have in regards to soft plastics. So if you've ever thought about going out and using soft plastics and giving it a go, I'd highly encourage you to do it. Stick with it. The more hours you spend soft plastic fishing, the more you learn and the more you will get better at it. As simple as that. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed it. Leave a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe. We are so close to 1,000. And yeah, don't forget 7 Seas Apparel. Go use code Lunatics10 to go get yourself 10% off any of their apparel at 7seasapparel.com. So thanks 7 Seas. Thanks everyone else for supporting the channel and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.